Hi, I am Meet. So today I will be telling a very short and sweet application which will be using IBM Cloud Service. So the name of the application is Language Translator. So as the name suggests, Language Translator, it translates any text from a particular language to other language. So here we will be using the cloud services of IBM. So let's see the workflow of it. So we will be creating a web application where we will be displaying the text area where the user will type the text or a paragraph in a particular language which he needs to get translated to. Then we will send the collected data from the web application to the IBM Cloud Service. The IBM Cloud Service is specifically the IBM Language Translator Service. So we will be using the Language Translator Service of the IBM Cloud Service, and then the translated text is sent from the cloud service to our application in form of JSON, that is JavaScript object notation, which we need to convert into plain text. So that is done in the UI itself, and then the translated text will be displayed in the UI. So let us see at a demo or working of this application. It would make more clear. So here I have this application. So over here, which language would you choose to type? Select the language. We are having 4 or 5 languages. So I'll be selecting English. I would be typing my sentences in English, and I would like to translate the English sentence to German. And then over here I'll simply paste. I've copied few text from this from my notebook. So I'll be just copying it and just pasting it. And then when I hit translate button, it will take some time and translate the entire English text to German. So here we see we have the German text. Now we can translate not only to German, but we can translate it to any text. Let's say we want to translate it to Korean. So when I hit translate, this translates to Korean language. There are few things which Korean languages couldn't detect. Korean language or Korean dictionary is very complicated, but this did a very good job in predicting almost every line. Let's translate it to Arabic. And then we can see that Arabic language is there. So in this way, we can integrate this language translator tool inside many web pages, and we can make use of this small tool inside many websites which requires translation. So instead of downloading the Google extension named as Google Translate, we can provide a translate option and give a list of the languages as shown, English, Arabic and this, and then when the user hits translate button, the web page automatically gets translated to the required or the desired language which the user needs. So this is a very short and sweet application using IBM Cloud Services. Hello, I am Meet. So now we will be starting our language translator tool by setting up our IBM services. So for that, we need to go to cloud.ibm.com, and once we hit this URL, we'll be redirected to this page. So if you are already having an IBM Cloud account, just type in your email ID and then continue and then enter your password. It's very simple to log into IBM Cloud. But if you're not having an IBM account, you can just hit on create an account, and once you hit on create an account, just enter some email ID and then some password and then next, and then verify your email. They will send you a verification link on your register on the email ID on which you have provided here. Once you verify that email, they'll ask some personal information and then hit create account. As you can see over here, develop for free, no credit card is required. So that means it is completely free. You will be having complete access to all the services of IBM Cloud for 1 month in free. But after then, if you want to use these services, you have to pay for them. But for now, this is all about registration and signing up. So once we are done with this, the interface would look something like this. After you have logged into it, the interface will look something like this. So now in order to set up the language translator, we need to go to catalog. After going to catalog, we have to select AI and machine learning. After selecting AI and machine learning, just go for language translator service. For language translator service, and once as I have already enrolled for this service, it is showing me an warning here that I have already enrolled, I have already selected this service, so I can choose on view existing, so it will show my existing service. But if you are new to this, then simply hit create. It will redirect you to this page as shown. It will redirect to the same page. Yeah, so we will be getting a page like this where we will be having a API key and URL. So we need to copy this API key and then paste it over here, this variable inside API key, and then we have to copy this URL and paste it over here. For every user, API key and URL will be different, so kindly follow this procedure as mentioned here. Hi. So in the last video, we saw how we have to set up our IBM Watson cloud service for the language translator service. So we ended up at this page, and we ended up by copying the API key and the URL and then assigning them to these variables named as API key and URL. So this is just a start. So before using the services, we have to install some dependencies. So in Jupyter Notebook, we just use exclamation mark and then type in the command of the package which we want to install. So we will be installing the IBM Watson package. So we just hit pip install IBM Watson. As I've already installed it, it will show me successfully installed. If I run this, it will take some time to install all the dependencies. And as I have already installed it, so it just shows requirement already satisfied. Then as we have indicated, as we have assigned the API key and the URL to their variables, let's just see what the overall flow will be. Okay, so what actually is happening in the background is, we are over here at our local machine, and there is this cloud of IBM which is consisting of many systems which are together related, right? There are many systems which are performing some kind of actions. So now we want to make a request from our system of the language translator to some XYZ system in the cloud. So for getting it, we use the medium of URL. Okay, so that is why this URL thing was required. https languagetranslator.watson.cloud.ibm instances. So that is the reason why this URL is required. It is in order to establish a connection from your local system to a particular system in the IBM cloud. Okay, and then the API key is like a password to this. So basically we have to say this machine like, hey, we are authorized users, we have an authentication key which is named as the API key. This API key is actually an authentication key which gives you which says this machine that the user is a registered user of IBM Cloud Service. And when you send the API key with this, then this machine accepts the request of the URL and then reloads and refreshes the language translator object inside it. So this was a small introduction about the working of the IBM Cloud Service. So now first we set up our API key and URL. Then we install our dependencies. Then we installed our dependencies, that is pip install IBM Watson. After that, we import few of the libraries. From IBM Watson, import language translator v3. v3 is nothing but version 3. And then from IBM Cloud _SDK. SDK is nothing but software development kit core.authenticators import IAM authenticator. As I mentioned that we need some kind of authentication key such that this machine, which is an IBM Cloud, allows our request. So that is why we have the API key and URL. And for validating this API key and URL, we need to import this IAM authenticator. So once we have the authenticator, we have all our dependencies and services and packages imported. We will set up our objects. So IAM authenticator is a class which takes up the API key as an parameter, and we save that object, and we save this instance of a class inside an object named as authenticator. Now we will set up our language translator object. So language translator is equals to language translator v3, that is version 3, and we have to specify which version of the language translator we are using. So the current version and the updated version is 2018-0501, and then we have to pass the authenticator object. So as I already mentioned previously that over here, as we are sending the URL request, this machine over here will try to authenticate it. So the authentication thing is done with the help of this language translator service. Okay, after that we just set up our service, that language translator.set service URL. If this code executes successfully, I have not installed the dependency here. If this code executes successfully, that means the language translator service is now set. So we are now all set with our services. Just we need to ensure that we pass in the correct parameters and correct text. So now we move forward for the translate service. So here this table is all about all the various kind of languages and the language code available. So one can easily go through this table. This notebook will be posted in the code. So now there is a method known as translate in the language translator v3 class, and as we have initiated the language translator object of the language translator v3 class, we will be using this object now for using all the methods which are present in this class. So over here, lang translator.translate, there is a method named as translate inside the language translator class, and we will be sending our text here, and then model ID is nothing but ENHI. EN is the code for English and HI is the code for Hindi. So we need to translate from English language to Hindi language. So now if I hit enter, shift enter, this will show us this gets executed. Now there is a method known as get result, and then when I hit and shift enter, I see a JSON formatted string here which says translation hello world in Hindi, the word count and the character count. Now let's try this for a bigger text. So this is the text which I have chosen, and this is the same method which we are invoking as we have done over here. So now when I hit this shows me everything. Now this is in a JSON format, but we are interested only in this part. So how do we extract it? So we say translation.getResult or translation.getResult of translations. As this is a dictionary, we'll be accessing this dictionary with the help of this translations key. So this translations key has a list as its value. So as we are accessing the first object of the list, so that is why there is the index 0, and then inside that list also we are having a dictionary, and from that dictionary we are interested in the value of it. So we will be accessing the value with the help of the key named as translation. So in this way we will be decoding the entire JSON string, and we will be getting our translated text. So a very big text like this, we have converted it easily to Hindi text using a simple language translator tool using the IBM language translator service. So this is a very simple and a short way of making a language translator tool. Not only just English to Hindi, we can select any language we want. Here are the list of languages. One can feel free to use any language. This will work for any language which are mentioned in the table here. Hi. So in the last video we made our language translation model using the IBM cloud service, where we saw how our language translation model is working. But in order to make it generalized and in order to make it user friendly, we will be making a web application out of it. So for making a web application, I am using a package in Python which is named as Streamlit. Now Streamlit is a very famous package for data science, as many of the data scientists and machine learning engineers use this package in order to make simple deployable web applications. So we'll be using the same application, a language translator model, but we will integrate it with the Streamlit code. Let's see how it goes. So we will import all the dependencies, like import Streamlit SST, NumPy just for numerical calculations and all. Now the lines from 4 to 18, whichever are there, they're similar to the ones which I discussed in the last video. They're almost similar. So if you want to check it out, you can just keep side by side the Jupyter notebook and the running code. So you will observe that lines from 4 to 18 are same. So this is just setting up our cloud service, as I have discussed in the last video in detail. So all this is just a simple import statement, and then we'll set up the API key and URL, and then we'll authenticate our API key, and then we will instantiate the language translator object, and then we will set the service on. Now on line number 20, we set the title of our project to be streamlit.title language translator. So before going forward, let's see how to run this application. So I'll say one thing: if you don't have Streamlit installed in your systems, you just write the command pip install Streamlit, and this should work fine. Oops, there's a typo. Streamlit, and this should work fine. As I already have the Streamlit application, that's why it's showing me requirement already satisfied. But in case of not installed, then it will take some time to install because it is a little bit big package. So now as I already have the Streamlit installed, I will show you how to run a Streamlit app. So for that, you have to just type in Streamlit run app.py, and this will launch the server. As in Flask, how it's launching, here also we launch the same. So this is how a very good application, very good decorated web application Streamlit is. So you can just inspect, and also you can check the responsiveness of this thing. It is as responsive as it should be. So a very good application, in short, indeed. Simple and sweet responsive application. So if you want to toggle the dark mode also, you can do it. Just go to settings, and you can edit active theme, and then you can edit the theme as per your thing. You can make it in a dark mode, and you can also make it in light mode. So this is a very user-friendly web application. Streamlit provides a very good service for making web applications good. So as on the line number 20, we set the language translator title, and it's visible here, the language translator title. Then we move down, and here we are setting the drop down list of the languages. So here, as we are seeing this drop down which is having English, Arabic, Hindi, German, Spanish and Korean. So this drop down is all about this. So basically this is displaying which language do you want, which language would you choose to type. So this is what it is, which language would you choose to type, and then this list, then the list of options, we are passing it in form of tuples. So whatever the user selects, the option, whatever the user has selected, it gets stored into this option variable. Let's say I have selected Hindi, so it gets stored into option. Then the same thing, another select box, which language would you like to translate to. So in the first select box, we say in which language do you want to type the text in, and then we say that which language do you want to translate the text in. So here we are maintaining some 5 to 6 languages, but you can go even more than that, as I have shown the table in the Jupyter notebook previously, that this is a big table and you can include all the languages if you want. There are like almost 30 to 40 languages mentioned in this table, and you can create a very large application on scale. Okay, so code from line number 24 to line number 30 is almost similar. And then in order to display the message, I say that enter the text in the option. So option is this. So I have let's say that I have selected English, so enter the text in English language in the text area provided below. So here I'm maintaining a text area where I will be writing my text which I need to translate. So this English is dynamically popped. Let's say that if it was Arabic, then here we get Arabic. If it was, let's say, German, then here we get German. Okay, so I want to type my language in English, that is why I mentioned that. Then comes the main logic of the whole Streamlit application, that is this dictionary over here. So as we all know, as I discussed, that in this the user will select any one language, and over here also the user will select any one language, and for each and every language there is one particular language code. So in data structures we come across a very famous data structure known as dictionary, which has a capability to store data in form of keys and values. So over here unknowingly, knowingly, the keys are obviously the languages and the values are their code. And we saw in the application that the main part of the entire application is all about the model ID. So in the model ID, if we go and see in the Jupyter notebook, over here the model ID was ENHI, right? So EN represents the language of English and HI represents the language of Hindi. So we need to make a kind of key value mapping to it, so that we can make it on a large scale. So this is all about this language library, which is a dictionary of languages and their keywords. As mentioned in the table, you can mention many languages as per your requirement. Here is Arabic AR. As we can see that Arabic is mapped to AR, English is to EN, Hindi is to HI, Spanish is to ES, German is to DE, Korean is to KO. So once all that is done, and then we are setting up our text area with an height of 250, and then we are just creating a button named as translate button over here. So the translate button is over here. If we hover on this and if we write something, that gets translated. But here just a little bit of checks we have to do before doing anything. So we'll be using a try except mechanism. So basically try except mechanism is all about object oriented programming. So we will be trying our code. If we get any kind of exceptions at runtime, then the except block will be executed. So what we are trying? So we are trying, the first thing is, we'll see if the option and option 1 are same. That is, if user selects the language to be typed is English and the language to translate also is English, so it doesn't make any sense, right? So we have to kind of uncheck this, or we have to kind of be smart in handling this kind of situations. So that is one edge case. So when anyone does it, then we will give the utmost priority to it, and let's see what happens if we do it. And then when I hit translate, then it says that please select different language for translation as displayed over here, because option and option 1 are same. So that is one handling. The other thing is, if option and option 1 are not same, that means if this is Arabic, and when I hit translate here, I find that there's no text area given here. So what is the warning which is coming up? Please do cross check if the text area is filled with sentences or not. So it doesn't execute this else block. In fact, it enters this as else block, and then suddenly when when there is no text in the text area, it raises an exception. So when an exception is raised, the except block will be activated, and then the statement please do cross check if the text area is filled with sentences or not has been popped up, as we can see here. So this is an indication that there is no content in the text area. Please do fill in the content. So if there is content in the text area, the result would be different. So let's say that I'll fill this text, and then when I hit translate, this will show me the translated text into Arabic. Now it will take some time and it will showcase the result. Here we go. So we have the translated text in Arabic. So I have just kept the languages in English and then the translated text is to Arabic. So here we didn't find any kind of exception, everything was perfect. So how to start about this? So here, as I said that over here in the notebook, the important part was about the model ID. So model ID, to generate the model ID, I have said that language lib of option, that means if option is selected to be English, let's say that option selected to be is English. So here English, the code for English is EN and translated is nothing but AR. Okay, so option 1 is Arabic and option is English. So for English, language lib of English, what is language lib of English? EN. What is language lib of Arabic? AR. So EN is to AR. So this is basically a kind of, this is basically something like this. EN, which is nothing but language lib of option, plus this AR, sorry, which is the language code for Arabic. So this is the same thing which we wanted, right? The language codes, and that we will be passing into the model ID. That is it. So if we want to add more languages, we just need to update this and update this. That is it. So that makes it a dynamic website, right? If you want to push something, if you want to add more languages, you just need to update the tuples here and the dictionary here. That's it. Other things remain the same. There's no change. So the translated code is then passed into the model ID, and then we just hit on translation.getResult, which gives the result in form of JSON, which we saw it in the last Jupyter notebook, that we get the result in the form of a JSON text, and then we have to decode this JSON text into normal text. So for that we just do this kind of manipulation, and then once we get our answer, we say that translated text in option 1. So option 1 is basically the language in which we want to get the text translated to. So the translated, as we can see in the demo as well, it is shown that the translated text in Arabic languages. So the option 1 is Arabic, right? And the text which is translated in Arabic language is shown below. So, and then we say that sd.markdown. Markdown is nothing but a kind of attribute which is used to kind of set style statements. So this markdown we will mostly find in many of the Jupyter notebook commands and even readme files and everything. It's just a way of writing some kind of sentences in a bold manner, nothing more than that. And then st.write ans. That's it. We write our answer, that is this translated text over here, as we can see, st.write answer, and then we just close this. So this was all about the else part, and if there is any exception which is if there is any exception which is occurring during the execution of this, the except block gets executed and then the sentence is written. So just see how simple the code is. There's nothing much to it. We just need to write some manual functions of Streamlit which are very easy, which can be easily written and which can be easily understood by any layman as well. So that's it for this one. I hope you liked it. Hi. So in the previous video we saw how to integrate our IBM services language translator with the web UI. We saw how we coded the Streamlit app. So now the code is pretty good and short and simple. Now we want to deploy this into production. So for deploying into production, we will be using the Heroku cloud platform, and in order to deploy it, we require, in addition, three more files. Sorry. One is the proc file, one is the requirements.txt file, and one is the setup.shell script. So the setup shell script is required in order to kind of say the Heroku server that, hey, this app is a Streamlit app, and these are all the ports and cores, so please make sure that you embed them in your service. So the setup.shell script is mainly required for Streamlit apps. So please make a note that you have to if you don't write this setup.shell script, then Streamlit apps would not work. Then we have the requirements.txt, which is normal in case of Heroku. We have to mention all the requirements. And then we have the proc file. For proc file, we say that we say our Heroku server that you just take these two files, and this is all about your integrating service, and then start running this apps. So this is nothing but the web sh setup.sh. sh is the indication of shell script. So just so it's kind of saying that, hey web service, there is a shell script file which is named as setup.shell script, setup.shell. Please go to that file and complete all the operate all the commands which are written here. Once all the commands are written, then you execute the streamlit run app.py. So this is the name, that is run app.py. As we were writing here in the previous video, streamlit run app.py, in the similar manner we have to say, or we have to provide the command for Heroku service that, hey, if you say streamlit run app.py, that would start the service of the application. Okay, so these are few requirements. .txt, this is the setup.sh file, that is a proc file. And now in order to establish the connection with Heroku, first just type in Heroku here. If you don't have Heroku on your system, I'll just say what are all the things we have to do. Okay, so as I already have Heroku in my system, I would say you. So if you have already an Heroku account, just log in to your email address and password and just simply hit login. If you don't have an Heroku account, just go for sign up, and then fill in all the necessary details which Heroku service is asking you, like first name, last name, company name, email address and all, and then just hit create free account. So once your account is created, you must log in. So after logging in, the UI would look something like this over here. So you can create a app over here by using this create new app. So as I've already created a multi-language translator app, which is the same thing. Make sure that you use unique names, because Heroku service discards all duplicate names, or doesn't allow you to take up a name which is already taken. So that is a little bit problem in Heroku service. So when you hit on click multi-language translator, just go to deploy section, and in deploy section we'll be having this commands which we have to include in our this thing. So this is the command line interface of Heroku, that is use Heroku CLI. If you are pushing your repositories onto GitHub, then it is well and good. You need to connect to your GitHub, and then it automatically branches your GitHub repositories here. And there is another one, that is container registry. This also is used by Heroku CLI only. So if you don't have Heroku command line interface, then simply hit on here and just download the Heroku command line interface. I personally use command line interface for Streamlit apps, and for Flask apps I use GitHub service. So I'll simply copy all the commands which are there, and then simply just step by step I'll just do it. And then they say enter a key, just press any key except Q, and then they will open, and you have to just simply click on login, so you will be logged in. Then once you're logged in, then we have to start our things. So don't copy the CD my project, it's just for folder initiation. Git init, it will initialize an empty repository, and then just simply say Heroku git remote multi-language translator. pardon for it. Copy, paste, then hit enter. So this will kind of create and git repository here, and then just simply write this command git add dot, and as it has already initialized this, I'm running again and again the same code. So this would be a better command here, get better. So yeah, so as I changed one file and there were 2 insertions into it and 1 deletion into it, so that is what is detected by these people. And then when I say git Heroku, git push Heroku master, so this will push my master branch. As you can see, this is a master branch here, so this will push the master branch. Now this is kind of getting pushing my code on the Heroku cloud service. So yeah, so for Flask apps, kind of just push your code onto your GitHub repositories, and then simply just hit on connect with GitHub, and then connect to GitHub, and then you will be having your so if I just do this connect to GitHub, and then it will ask me to connect to GitHub, and then you connect to GitHub by providing your username and password, and then the things will work automatically. After then you have to just provide the repository name and the branch on which you have you want to deploy your git repo. So yeah, the same thing. So it's working, and I think so within 2 minutes this will be deployed. So it's compressing, and Streamlit apps are really good in order to kind of make the workflow very simple for of a data science project. The user interface is very simple, and then there's no required to code the HTML as we do it in Flask and all. It's just simple English language, and the web UI gets created within no time. So Streamlit is gaining popularity nowadays in data science community. So this one you can also deploy your Streamlit apps on Streamlit sharing. So as you can see that the version 3 of the project has been released on Heroku. So this is the one. Yep. So this is deployed, and then I just click on control link. So yep, here we have our language translator app, which is deployed on Heroku. So we'll check whether this is working. We'll say that history of India and pick up some random text. Let's say that we pick up some random text and then hit over. Hit over here, and then when we hit translate, it's running, and it should work. So yep, we get the Hindi text here. If we translate it to German, let's see what happens. this works fine. It gets translated to German as well. You can try out with various other languages over here which I mentioned, and also you can try to integrate your own languages, which I have shown in the table, and I have shown the method also how to integrate it. You can also change the UI of this by going to kind of settings, and then theme. You can change it to dark theme, you can change it to, you can use system setting, you can use light theme or anything. It's up to you. Okay, so this is a very flexible web application which is deployed on Heroku cloud platform, and this is how simply we can integrate the services of IBM and deploy our project end to end on Heroku service as well.